Hey folks, Leave here once again. Hope you enjoy my review of Justice League World that is on my channel right now. Just wearing my YouTube shirt. Remember, it's Leave McNally 983 with the best profile picture. Keep on subscribing to this channel, guys. Again, thank you for, if I didn't say it in the last video, thank you for the views and thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully this channel has better quality and better audio, as I wanted to get that on this channel. And guys, what I've been doing on this new channel is a superhero marathon. I've been doing what I call the 2020s era of superhero reviews. These films, like superhero movies that came out this decade we're living in now, the 2020s, starting with 2020 to 2025, the year we live in right now. And I'm on the year 2023. I have about, I think, 5 more movies to go after this, or 5 movies to go after this. But anyway, with this next superhero movie, these next two movies, um, they both came out in August. But I'll be starting with this one. This is basically Seth Rogen's version of these movies, of the four heroes in a half shell. And that is I'm reviewing the 2023 superhero film directed by Jeff Rowe, by Jeff Rowe and written by Seth Rogen. That is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mutant Mayhem. I hated this film. Now, you're probably wondering why I have the movie on DVD. I bought it so I can review it, guys. I just want to give it a chance on maybe I'll like it, but I hated this film. This is just as bad as Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. This was just completely awful. This is right on par with those. I don't get the praise for this movie. I don't understand it. I don't understand how people praise this movie. It gets so much praise up the butt. I don't understand why. You know, I hated this film. Maybe one thing I didn't mind about it, but other than that, I thought this was one of the worst superhero movies ever made. This was even worse than Teenage Mutant Turtles 3. I'd rather watch the third movie over this. Third movie's laughable, but honestly, now I'm thinking about third movie, I could probably see as a guilty pleasure. Now I'm thinking about now Teenage Mutant Turtles 3. Don't get me wrong, that's a terrible movie. That's not good, but this one is even worse. So is the Michael Bay ones. These ones are just awful with the jokes and the way they handle the characters. To me, the best Teenage Mutant Turtles movie is the one that turned the 1990 classic film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990. That is still the best Turtles film, in my opinion. 35 years later, and then next year the sequel, Secret of the Ooze, turned 35. It's going to turn 35 in 2026 next year, and that's an awesome sequel in my opinion. I love that movie. That's a fun sequel. I love the 80s cartoon. I love the 2000s. I want to get that. I want to get the whole 80s cartoon 2000 series. But if you want to project your kids to this, why? If you want your kids to watch Ninja Turtles, buy the whole series of, Teenage Mutant Turtles, the 80s cartoon or the 2000s cartoon. Yeah, 2003 cartoon get dark, but after season 5, they tone it down. But that's more enjoyable. Or watch the 1990 films, even Teenage Mutant Turtles 3. That you might hate that movie, but they might like it. Watch those instead. Those are better turtle films, in my opinion. Even the 2007 movie, while okay at best, I still think it's a lot better than this. I think I like that movie a lot more than this. It has problems too, but this is even 10 times as worse. This was just Nickelodeon type bad, awful. I felt like a Nickelodeon film that was awful. This felt like it was trying to be the 80s cartoon all over again. It felt like it was trying to be Michael Bay a little bit. To me, it did. Yeah, and it was trying to be Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. You can tell they took inspiration from that a little bit, and I'm like, you felt that that's Seth Rogen. You know. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Excuse me. So for the production, following the release of Teenage Mutant Turtles 2014, and then a sequel Out of the Shadows, Ryan Robbins felt that the Teenage Mutant Turtles film series was in dire need of a reboot, which doesn't make sense because I do believe that Michael Bay's version was a reboot, so now we're getting another reboot in this movie. He sought out advice from longtime Turtles toy manufacturer Playmate Toys, who told him that the reboot should be an animated film. In 2018, Robbins discussed with newly appointed executive vice president of Nickelodeon Animation Studio, Ramsey Nato, who to bring onto the project. Seth Rogen was decided upon. Jeff went the project soon after. As soon as Seth Rogen was announced for this movie, I remember, again, I hate the Green Hornet from 2011, so I just had a bad feeling this movie was not going to be good. You know, in June 2020, Deadline Hollywood reported that Nickelodeon Animation was developing a CGI animated Turtles film for Paramount Pictures. Rowe was hired to direct from a screenplay by Brendan O'Brien. Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and James Weaver produced through their production company. Point Break, Point Grey Pictures, which is credited alongside Nickelodeon movies. Neto and Josh Fagan oversaw production for Nickelodeon and Point Grey, respectively. Rogen said that the film would have heavily lean onto the teenage element of the Turtles. As a long fan of Ninja Turtles, really the teenage part of Teenage Mutant Turtles was always the part that stuck out to me the most. As someone who loves the teenage movies, made a lot of teenage movies by writing them, which are horrible by the way. If I want somebody who can write a good teenage movie, I'll just go watch a John Hughes movie, which is done better. You know. In June 2021, Rogan revealed the teaser image through the Twitter page contains school notes written by Leonardo, the film's original release date, and other details. By October 2021, the film was under the working title Teenage Mutant Turtles: The Next Chapter. Production designer Yasha Kosso elaborated on the project. You anchor yourself enough in the familiar elements of that recognizable, but then you either add the enchant or some of the existing charm of the franchise. The title then was changed to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TMT Mutant Mayhem. The Mitchell expressed his machines. Overall, the budget was $70 million at minimum for this movie. Rogan, Goldberg, and Rowe all did, wrote all the script writing for the movie. Rogan wrote they wanted the film to emphasize the teenage aspect of the Turtles. Compared Mutant Mayhem to the coming of age films like Stand By Me and Lady Bird. I've never seen those movies. I never seen Stand By Me. I heard it was good. I think it was I think that movie was based off a Stephen King novel. I need to watch that movie. I'm sure that movie's a lot better than this. Remarkable that his goal was to make the ultimate teenage coming of age film. He described the Turtles as having confidence that teenagers have, adopting the teenagers often this hype sense of we can do anything. The writers wanted to create their own version of Turtles lore, did not take all elements from previous iterations into account. Rowe explains that they aim to make it more logical, past a lot of things to make it really operate from a place of character and reality. Shredder was originally the main villain of the film, but was written out because Rowe wanted the film's villain to be a mutant who related to the Turtles and who the Turtles could relate to, and he was tempted by. Superfly was originally going to be a mutated version of Baxter, a character who was Ben turned into a mutant, flying past Turtles medium. The two, though, were separate characters. An early draft of the film, Rowe explained that the intentional was the prime villain plot in a natural way, adding that the Turtles had already people who were early on the script. The film had to reset 30 minutes in. New characters of the kids in high school, relationships had to be established. Rowe described it as tedious. Eventually, July 2022, Rogan approached Rowe with a text message telling him that the film was finally broken and had to be completely changed. Yeah. Some of the voice cast of the movie here, including Jackie Chan as the voice of Splinter. On March 4, 2023, during the Nickelodeon Kid Show, Rogan revealed that actors Micah Abney, Sherman Brown Jr., Nicholas Thompson, and Brady New, all of whom were intended were going to voice the Turtles. You had John Cena, Jackie Chan, Ice Cube, Maya Rudolph, Paul Rudd, doing some voices here. Mutant Mayhem marks the first time of all Turtles are portrayed by teenage actors. Rogan felt the decision to cast teenagers for the parts of the film made it stand out from previous versions of Turtles. Saying something very became something that really opened up their version. Hundreds of actors auditioned for the roles of the Turtles. Roy watched every tape and narrowed them down to the ones he felt worked. He edited the voices of the characters down to see which suited them. Then he went down to 10, with Abby Brown, Kanto, and Noon had chemistry together. Roy described the four as perfect, and the table read is kind of like Chan. He wrote a film too, led to him asking if he wanted to be a part of the film. The team also had a meeting with Ice Cube. They told his character's name was Superfly. Laughed and agreed to sign on. Ice Cube also chose to sign on because of his son's emotional connection with the Turtles franchise. Averaging from the characteristics of his friends and previous portrayals of the characters for his performance as Donatello, Brown did not want to do the typical surfer dude voice for Michelangelo. Inspired by Michael Brown's take on the character, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV series. Katnu wanted to bring quality of nervousness to Leonardo, found out there was a low anxiety that comes with the leading the group. No one wanted to balance Raphael's rage with a more light-hearted, funny performance to make him relatable. April O'Neil, although wanted to heartbreaking back to her teenage years and take her into character's determination. Kevin Eastman appears in the book's cameo as a citizen that helps Splinter during the climax as a good human. Credited as a good human. Roy wanted the role to be voiced by someone meaningful to the franchise and chose to Cass Eastman is a homage to Stan Lee's cameos in the MCU films, or Marvel films as well. Like with his previous outline, the Michelle faces the machines. Rogue One and Mutant Mayhem totally different from what the film was. It was make it heavily resemble the concept art. He was inspired by sketches he made in school notebooks as a teenager, and they tend to have a lot of abstract future spikes and random effective lines. Rogue described the film's schedule as North Star. Production designer Yeshikar found working out the style of the film most difficult parts of the production. You know, this is what the children will like in the movie. Jeff Bridges' Duke character from Bill Lebowski was the inspiration for Splinter's passion, while his build was inspired by Danny DeVito. White did not want to make the Leatherhead look too muscular. Mayhem was animated by Miko's Animation, Montal, in Paris, and in Vancouver. Marcus was hired in 2022 to handle the bulk of the animation. Music score: the film does have a lot of rap songs in it, certain songs in the movie as well, which I didn't care for. Some of the songs in this movie, a lot of it I did not care for. The film is about the importance of family, a major theme in the film is acceptance. Yeah. Slater fears the worst in humanity after being rejected by them. Yeah. I kind of get what they're going for, but it just didn't work for me in this movie. But for the voice cast, you have Mike Abbott as Donatello, the Ted Guru of the Turtles. He usually boasts after combat. Shaman Rhodes Young Jr. as Michelangelo, the fun-loving jokester of the Turtles. He uses nunchucks. Nicholas, he's the fun-loving turtle. Nicholas Conto as Leonardo, who's the leader of the Turtles. He uses two katana swords. And then you have Brady Noon. Well, let's see, these actors are known. He voiced Curly and Hey Arnold, the Jungle Movie. And Brady Noon voiced Raphael, the muscle of the Turtles, who uses a pair of size. He was in movies like Good Boys from 2019, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, doing voice work. I did, I believe as April Nim. Yeah, she was Gloria Grant in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, so she was good in that. Inside Out 2, she was actually good in that. Maya Rudolph as Cynthia Unjun, as editor of the Shitty Research. Yeah, Maya Rudolph's been lots of comedies. I remember her in Idiocracy with Luke Wilson. That's a real funny movie, funnier than this. She was in Bridesmaid, Grown Ups 1 and 2. And then she did voiceover for third Big Hero 6. I love Big Hero 6. Better better movie than this. And John Cena's Rocksteady, oh gosh. John Cena, I just do not like as an actor. Never cared for him anything with him. And I don't like him as a tool ahead. I'm talking about, what's the name? Peacemaker, yeah. Which his movies didn't make sense in Suicide Squad toward the end of that film. Anyway, Seth Rogen as Bebop, a mutant warhog, and member of Superflies. Seth Rogen, he's written movies before. I've never been a Seth Rogen fan. Honestly, all his movies are about him just playing the same character, guy who does drugs and, turns the awkward laugh. I liked him in performances like Funny People with Adam Sandler. He was good in that. I liked him in the TV series Freaks and Geeks. That's a real good show. I need to get that. The 4-year version, he was good in that too as well. Yeah, and I liked him in Fanboys from 2009. He was good in that. Yeah, you Star Wars fan? I thought he was funny in that. Yeah, and he's ruined some movies too, but sometimes it's just like a movie like The Green Hornet just didn't work. Rose Byrne as Leatherhead and Munich Alligator. Rose Byrne, not a big fan of this actress. She was in X Men First Class, and of course X Men Apocalypse. Didn't like her in those. Really not a big fan of her. I didn't mind her in the internship with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. Natasha Dempton as Wingnut and Munich Bat, who I think I've never heard of before. Juno Usford as Baxter Stockman, a former CTR scientist who was responsible for the creation of the movies that mutated the turtles. School Days, Do the Right Thing, King of New York, Usual Suspects, Monkey Bone. Just looking up some movies he did. Oh, wait. Oh, he voiced Akela in the Jungle Book remake. Uh, Akela gets killed by Shere Khan in that movie, by the way. Jackie Chan as Splinter, a Minute Rat, and his other father. Yeah, I like Jackie Chan. I like Rumble in the Bronx. I love the Rush Hour films, the Shanghai New films, Shanghai Nights films, and you know, Operation Condor. I like that movie. I like a lot of Jackie's movies that I've seen. The Tuxedo, that's good. The Medallions are real good. Kung Fu Panda, he did voice work in that. He voiced the monkey in that. The Foreigner, I thought he was really. I thought Jackie gave a great performance in that. You know, a bit more of a dramatic performance than that. But in here, I just thought he was just embarrassing himself. Ice Cube is Superfly. I've never been a fan of Ice Cube. I didn't mind him in the movie Anaconda, the first Anaconda movie. You know, I liked him in 20 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. He was good in those movies. Other than that, I don't really care to see Ride Along. Barbershop, I don't think I'm a big fan of those movies. Yeah, he was in XX State of the Union, that film. I've seen it and it sucked. Yeah, yeah. His acting was just never that great in my opinion. Yeah. Paul Rudd as Mondu Gecko. I mean, Gecko, I remember Superfly's Gang. Paul Rudd's did a lot of comedies with Pacific Road, like the 40-year-old version, other type movies. Anchorman, Legend of Ron Burgundy, 40 Year Knocked Up. And of course, he also, you know him as Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe MCU. In the Ant-Man movies and Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Austin Post as Ray Phillip. Hannibal Buress as Genesis Frog. Genesis Frog. Neighbors 2, The Sorority Rising. Neighbors, the first one. Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh yeah, I remember him as the coach in Spider-Man No Way Home. That guy, I remember him, yeah. Mr. Beast as Times Square guy. Kevin Eastman plays Kevin Eastman was, I think, one of the creators or the comic writers and artists for Teenage Mutant Turtles. Him and Peter Lorre, they were the ones that created the Teenage Mutant Turtles. They created the Turtles in the comics and stuff. I think he also, let's see, maybe some of the, let's see, if I can find it. He may have had cameos in some in the '90s movies as well. I think he did. Alan Hirsch as Scumbug. Oh, speaking of another animated movie, I think that's better than this crappy film. Like Turtles Forever. That's a good one. Alex Hirsch as Scumbug. Don't know if I ever heard of him. Bobby Wagner, football player. Yeah. But the film is directed by Jeff Rowe, who's directed, well, just this movie and co-directed The Mitchells vs. the Machines, which I've never seen. And screenplays by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, who's worked with Seth Rogen in films like Superbad, Pineapple Express. I love Sausage Party as well with Seth Rogen. That's a good movie because that makes fun of Disney. And this is the end of the interview, which I've never seen. And Dane Horness, who did script for films like Pokemon Detective Pikachu, which I like. Dead Family 2, which is okay. Don't mind that movie. And Benji Sanat, of course, the director wrote this film as well. Did you really need? Yeah, let's see. Film has 6 writers. I'm like, and Brendan O'Brien. I'm like, yeah. Neighbors, Neighbor 1 and 2. Mike and Dave meet have wedding dates. The House and Back in Action. Based on Teenage Mutant Turtles, created by Peter Laird, Kevin Eastman, produced by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and James Weaver. Cinematography by Kent Sink, edited by Greg Labatz. Music by Trent Rouser, Ideas Rose. It was released August 2nd, 2023. The film was 99 minutes long. About 1 hour and 39 minutes long. The budget is 79, 79, The budget to make this film and what it cost to make was $70 million, and the box office made $108.5 million worldwide. Yeah, it got positive reviews from critics for its performance and screenplay, and so several critics considered it the best Turtles film. Really, I don't understand that. Those critics must be high as a kite or something. And I don't care if Rotten Tomatoes gives it a high rating either. Again, y'all want to know my thoughts on Rotten Tomatoes? Just go on my other channel if you want thoughts on. I talk about my thoughts on Rotten Tomatoes. I never care what they say. There was a sequel set for September, while a follow-up television series, Tales Teenage Mutant Turtles, debuted on streaming, which again I have not seen and I don't care to. Yeah, the best Turtles film. That just like really. Have you not seen the 1990 film? Well, Chris, the Teenage Mutant Mayhem is an anime treat for the whole family. Yeah, because a certain like getting milk jokes and you know Mikey twerking, that's for children and cheese and nachos up Splinter's ass. I'm like, okay, yeah, the adult jokes, yeah, and Splinter smooching out with the cockroach, with the roach, okay, that's for children. And some, yeah, the credit for the plot for being predictable. Yeah, it might have been nominated for some things, but let's see, it didn't win anything. Haha, good. Could have been some Razzies, but and there will be spoilers in this review. I just want to go ahead and say that right now. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the. Well, before I get the plot synopsis, for the marketing of the film, they did have toy commercials, toys out for the movie. Pizza Hut has something for the movie as well. Of course, being Teenage Mutant Turtles, we know the turtles love pizza. Yeah. So you got like Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, Mike, you got all of them on the pizza boxes there from Pizza Hut. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna talk about the plot synopsis of the movie. So again, if you've not seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mayhem, and again, guys, if you like this movie, don't take this review personally. All my reviews are just my personal opinion. It's just my voice, my channel, my opinion. Okay? If you don't like it, then you can just leave. But just respect my opinion. I respect yours. Okay? Respect, respect. That's what I'm saying. You can't respect my opinion. Don't watch my videos. You know, this is just my opinion. I don't want to hear, well, you're just being childish because you don't like this movie or call me names or say all this stuff. I'll just delete and block you then because I can. So yeah. So anyway, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. Getting on with it. So the plot synopsis is that after years of being sheltered from the human world, the Turtle Brothers set out to win the hearts of New Yorkers. They want to be accepted as normal teenagers, which honestly would really never work. But this film sets out that then they get a new friend, of course, April O'Neil, helps them take on a mysterious crime syndicate led by a Superfly. Again, even though they meet April O'Neil and there's well, no, that's Splinter right there, but there's the Superfly and his gang. But they soon get overheads when this army of mutants is released upon them. And spoilers: Superfly wants to get revenge on New York. He hates humans, completely hates humans. He wants to turn humans into bugs, and it'll wipe them out. And the turtles don't agree with this, so the turtles, along with April O'Neil, they have to team up and they have to take him on and fight, and they have to take the gang down, and they have to, and they're battle for the fights of their life as they're trying to save New York City from Superfly's madness of he's got this machine. If it sounds familiar, like mutation, like yeah, if it sounds like Michael Bay's version, the first movie, it's because it basically is copying those movies in a way. I know I say copy the '80s cartoon. It just kind of feels like it tries to be the '80s cartoon or tries to be, like a darker version a little bit. With throwing about jokes, but this is just terrible. You know. and they have to save New York City and save the day. And by the end of the movie, they do become normal teenagers and go to school, go to high school, and everyone lives happily ever after. Yeah. So, in a shell of a plot of a nutshell of a stupid movie like this, yeah, that's the plot. Yeah. I'll talk about the movie itself, then give you my final opinion, guys. Okay? Remember, this is just my opinion, so this is a rant as well. This will be an epic rant. So again, this is not a positive review. I hate this movie. More a negative review for the film. Um, I did not care to see another Teenage Mutant Turtles film after the Michael Bay ones. I'm like, what's the point? But again, Hollywood, somebody will come up with something and it's Seth Rogen, and that one somebody had to be Seth Rogen. Yes, of course. Anyway, so the film opens up. It's like at nighttime, and then you have this techno cosmic research TRCI. Then you this executive named Cynthia again, Cynthia Ultron, voiced by Maya Rudolph. They want to get their hands on the scientist and his research that is Mr. Stockman, who creates Superfly and these other units. Because you find out he's lonely, so he's creating them. He's doing work, you know. Scientist Mr. Stockman, which I like the character of Stockman, what they did with him in the 2000s cartoon and in the 80s cartoon as well. But here, Stockman is underused. They should have turned him into the Fly, like they did from the comics. They should have had Shredder here. That would have been. I mean, again, I don't mind them using a different villain, but if it was Baxter Stockman, I think it would have been a lot better done. But no, Stockman just, I think, dies in here. Yeah. He's created these mutants to form his own mutant animal family, starting with the Housefly, Superfly. The Strike Force come in, they come to attack. Some of the creatures attack his men, and they don't get his research. One of the mutations of the use falls into New York City, and then you hit to 15 years later. Then you know, the turtles, that is, of course, we see the turtle 15 years later just right on the streets, and then them just running their mouth off about, stupid jokes, and they're getting dinner. And Splinter's like, I told you not to go outside. You need to be in here with me at all times. And I don't like to look Splinter. I know they take inspiration from him looking like, Jeff Bridges from The Big Lebowski. But he more really looks like, Wayne Selinsky from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids if he was overweight a little bit or if he had never was able to shrink his kids back. Yeah. And, he just got the weight of Danny DeVito. I'm like, no, you're not Danny DeVito. You know, but Splinter's like, you're gonna get milk. They talk about getting milk. Oh yeah, you can milk anything with nipples. That's what they say here, literally in line. Someone says, we can't. How they gonna milk us? They will get nipples. The turtles just run their mouths nonstop. And yeah, you can definitely tell these are worse. The worst one I think is Donatello. People say, well, he's a 15-year-old voiced by a 15-year-old. So Corey Feldman was great, I think, and so was the other Corey in two and three, and even the first movie was great. And the guy who voiced, the 2003 cartoon did a great job as Donatello, and in the 80s cartoon did a great job as Donatello. Why does he have to sound like that? It sounds stupid. Donatello had the worst voice of them all that I could not stand. The only turtle that I could stand was Leo. I can see why he was nervous, but when he was talking, hanging out with his brothers, then he became annoying. But when Leo's off to himself, you know, the turtles feel sad because they want to be accepted by society. But you got to understand, they are ninjas. I think they missed the point of it, Seth Rogen. They're ninjas. Yes, I get it. Teenagers want to be accepted and loved. I get it. But the turtle kids realize they can't have that. People won't accept them the way they look. They're ninjas too. Truly, they are ninjas. They're teenagers, yes, but they're ninjas too. You know, what they do is protect the city. That's what Teenage Mutant Turtles does. And they're mutants. They're not human. They're not. Yeah, you know. So anyway, they, you know, They watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You know, the Singing with a Prayer, which is honestly, like I said, I really like the John Hughes movie because that's better done. Because the three teenagers that were in that movie, Matthew Broderick and Alan Ruck, and the girl that played the girlfriend, Maya, I forget the actress's name, but she was real good for she was a time cop fan down. They were great, a really great casting here of teenagers. Even if they weren't teenagers, they were really good. See, even John Hughes movies, some of the teenagers are probably not actually teenagers. They do a better job of actually being teenagers than the teenagers in this movie. Yeah, and I also think with them family, we hear the story of how it came to be. That night, that attack. I'm sorry, I'm just blabbering off and just going to go and do that in my review sometime. I'm sorry, but the musician went to the sewer. That's how they came to be. And apparently, Splinter was just a rat that nobody liked. So he doesn't have a master, so he doesn't learn karate, learn jujitsu, you know, learn how to be a ninja, learn karate. So he's about to eat a cockroach. He sees the kids like, get off of me, and they become a family. And he says, you want, Turtle's like, okay, I'll admit the turtles are cute babies. I'm not gonna lie. The best thing about these turtles is when they were just little babies. They were adorable. I'm not gonna lie. But other than that, they want to go up to the surface. So you want to go up to the surface. So Splinter just walks out in the world, and people, like, oh monster, oh my god, it's a rat. That's not a face. People, I'm like, what did you expect, Splinter? People are not gonna accept you. Then that's when he said he hates humans, that they're all bad. Oh, hello. Yes, this is it. One 31. Okay, comment below. Okay, if you're not able to. Okay. 你是哪一种的？the address. Oh, sorry, folks. That was a bad doctor's appointment. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I had to find out about it and the address and stuff. So sorry about that. Anyway, where was I? Okay, the turtles were talking. The Splinter talking to Splinter in the movie. Anyway, yeah, like I said, they learn karate. He wants them to defend themselves, so they watch TV and watch karate movies. I guess because it's that simple, huh? I guess, learning karate, you don't have to go to a dojo. You can just watch TV and just, you're a master at it already. It's like the Michael Bay movie, except they read a book in that version. You know, you have a splinter who doesn't learn from a master, just learn from reading a book or watching TV. And of course, he gives them the mask and they grow up. You know, the turtles go out again. Leonardo spills the beans and tells them, "We were out watching a movie." He's like, "What? You're grounded for a month." And Raphael's like, "I'm leaving." You know, and they're talking. The turtles are doing cameras of themselves, doing like videos of themselves. You know, with their weapons. Talking attacking watermelons. You know, and he's like, "Yeah, Leo, we don't talk to you. You got some, you get, your head's up Splinter's butt. It's like nachos and Doritos up there or whatever. Macho, mashed potatoes and nachos or whatever. Joke. So stupid. And anyway, they play with one of the weapons. They almost hit April O'Neil. This where she the black April O'Neil. I don't mind it diversity a bit, but I don't care that she was black. Didn't bother me. But this April O'Neil was annoying. It's like you gotta hit me in the head, dude. You really gotta take me with this weapon. And her bike's getting stolen, and they're like, look, look. And she's like, what, what? She's like, you stupid bimbo, look behind you. Is what I want to. And they save her bike, I guess, and she meets them. She's like, oh, you're turtles. They chase him down like to a warehouse, you know, or this shop, if you will. Yeah, but before they meet April, they go to get her bike. So yeah, I get that. Yes. Well, they just reached out to me about this appointment. Yeah, apparently I didn't want to go in the afternoon, but I didn't want to go early morning more downtown. I don't know if I want to drive too far in my car. But anyway, as I'm barely talking here about the movie, not about my personal life. Sorry, I don't mean to talk about personal stuff outside of YouTube. I don't want to talk about my personal life outside of YouTube. I don't like doing that. But anyway, so sorry about walking over there, folks. I just had to keep the charge department down. Anyway, they fight. Ralph throws throws one of his sides, and it hits Michael. It hits Donatello in the leg, and Donatello's like, "Oh my god!" Like the worst, wimpiest, sissy girl or scream I've ever heard. You know. And they're fighting these guys. They're playing Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go. I'd rather watch Secret of the Ooze. That's a much better movie than this. I'd rather watch the 2007 movie. I think the animation in that is a lot. The CGI animation in that is a lot better than this. Yeah. Despite the weak story and the villain, and Leo being kind of a dickhead in that movie. At least Turtles Forever, you got Turtles teaming up, and that animation is way better than this, and humor was a lot better than this. Yes, I'll say that again. The 80s cartoon is much funnier than this. Anyway, they save her. She tells them that she's trying to solve these robberies. She's an investigator. They take her to the school. They're like, "Wow, this is high school. I've never been to high school before." And the turtles do this. I don't remember if it was then or a lot later, but they just run their mouths a lot. And Leo, of course, has a crush on April, which is weird. No Casey Jones, because he's not even human. He's a mutant ninja turtle. He's a turtle trying to hook up with a human. That's just weird. You know. But of course, April was nervous. She gets on her TV in school, and she's like, throws up. I'm like, that's disgusting and not funny to me. I'm like, really? We have to add gross humor in there. Is this the Peter and Body? Was this movie made by the Fairley Brothers or something? Because those guys are the masters of doing, gross out humor. Yeah, not you, Seth Rogen. Yeah, but these robberies, have been done by some criminals, so they hunt down these criminals. They're beating guys up. That's why you see some of the montage here of them beating some guys up. It's just the montage, and the montage I didn't care for. It's just shitty rap music going on, and I didn't care for this rap music at all. I'm not big into rap. Some of it, sometimes I like it when it's done right. Like Go Ninja, Go Ninja. I like that by Vanilla Ice. Uh, you know, you know, or Turtle Power. Oh, that's a rap song. I can consider that a rap song with the 1990 film. I love that song. Teenage Mutant Ninja 3. Some of that does have a good soundtrack though. ZZ Top. You know, I'd rather listen to that than any of the soundtrack in here. Like in Turtle 3 when they're dancing. I'd rather just watch them dance in that than anything in here. Turtles are much better dancers in the 90s movies than they are in here. But the music is just awful. Well, that's what kids love nowadays. Rap music. Yeah, of course they do. And they put that in here. And I didn't care for that. They question the guy. They find out about Superfly, who, he steals all this technology. Because you find out, like I said, spoilers in this review. Again, if you never, there's been spoilers in this review, by the way. If you haven't watched this movie, if you're still watching the video channel on you, don't spoil it for yourself. You know, yeah. But they believe that they can help her, they can stop Superfly, that they can become heroes, that people will accept them. Uh, yeah. And they talk about Superfly, they're the turtles that, they do this rap song. Like, cheese them, yeah, cheese them, yeah, yeah. And then this way you have Mikey working, and I'm like, really? They can't rap either. The rapping is horrible. At least I think it is. They give this one guy to talk, though, and, you know, they drive a truck, which they've never driven before. Donnie has never driven a car before. Donatello was like, "You're a good driver." Well, I'll practice this on the ET game, or so apparently he learned how to drive from. I guess if you want to learn how to drive, teach your kids to drive, just let them play a driving video game or an arcade or a video game, PlayStation game. Just get a car. It's that simple to drive. Just learn from a video game. It's like learning karate. Just watch TV, play a video game from it, and you'll become a master at it like that. You actually don't have to learn it to really do it. Yeah. Splinter's upset, and they're trying to hide from Splinter. He says, "Tell me the truth. What have you been doing?" They make up lies to him. They talk about getting milk still. He's like, "We're not gonna get milk. They milk you, milk you. That's how much milk." I'm like, you know. Apparently, it seems like Splinter is obsessed with getting milked, or you know, like he really wants a nipple or something. I don't know to get on, but I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't take it personal. It's just a joke. You They arrive at the Brooklyn Bridge, and he's like, the Superfly. As soon as he sees them, he attacks the shark. Like, ah! He attacks them like Superfly, and they first they're like cool with him. They get along. They go hang out in an arcade, and they ask him questions. And Superfly tells him about his past, that Master Stockman was his daddy, created him and his brothers. And but when the strike force came, TRCI strike force came to attack, and I guess Master Stockman died. I wasn't paying attention. I was falling asleep to this movie, by the way, because I was so bored and aggravated with it. Gave me a headache. I didn't really care what I was watching. I was just kind of looking at the time on my phone sometime, time thinking, when am I going to get out of here? When is this done? Anyway, so Superfly tells him about his past, and we're supposed to feel sorry for him. Yeah, if I heard sympathy about villain stories, or I've heard scenes billions of times in a superhero film, where the villain has a mysterious past, you know, or a sad past. I've heard it done before. Been there, done that. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't care about Superfly's past. I didn't feel no connection with him. And he's like, I want to kill humans now because they came after my father. They killed my family. And every human is bad. So we're gonna kill all of them. He's gonna use this machine. And the others agree with him, like, you know, Rocksteady and Bebop and all the, the Lizard Mondu, Stingray Ray, the cockroach named Scumbag. When they disagree with him, they chase after the turtles, so they have a bit of a fight with him, a chase with him. But they say, we can't let you do that, we don't agree with it. But they escape with the tracker. Whatever they escape from him, they get captured by Cynthia, who tries to milk them, you know, and, you know, April comes to see Spencer's like, don't protect me. And he tells them about it. And this moment is kind of decent, though. It does remind me of Jackie Chan's Rumble on the Bronx a little bit. Or the Rush Hour movies or Shanghai New movies when he's doing his karate. But that's more entertaining to watch. This was decent. Knocks these guys out. Apparently, maybe even kills one of them. He's like, "You were so grounded, you were so punished." Tells them about what Superfly's up to. He's like, "Okay, we're gonna stop Superfly. Like, April, go home. You have no reason to be here. And then you're gonna go be with me forever in the ground in the supers." And they have to stop Superfly. I guess I don't remember no brotherly moments in here. No family moments of moments like they care about being a family, just arguing. It seems like Splinter is just a nutcase for a dad. I'm like, like obsessed with keeping them, just obsessed with just keeping them. Just like this phone, like I can't get off the like I'm obsessed with. He's obsessed with having his kids. I'm like, that's not really family. He never really says, "I love you, my sons," you know. And when he does, it just mean nothing. At least the Teenage Mutant Turtles '99 film, when they were meditating, Splinter came out, his spirit like came out of the fire. And was talking to them and says, "I love you, all my sons." That was a touching moment. Or when he's talking to Raphael, he's like, "It is okay, my son." You're in Raphael's cry. I felt something. And here you don't feel anything except annoyance. You know. And this is considered to be the best Turtles film. No, I don't agree with that. I 100% disagree with that. Splinter's like, I believe me, I hate humans too. But killing them, it just makes us as bad as they are. And, and then Michelangelo's like, well, we'll accept you. And the lizard guy's like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. And they said, we don't want to kill anybody. We don't want to do this. You know. So they decided to fight. So Superfly still doesn't agree. And his own family's like, my own family turned on me. So his own family and the Turtles and Splinter, they fight him. And it's like, Superfly, come on, Turtles, come on, we're the same Splinter, but I'm just more cool than you or whatever. He says something like that, and they fight. He turns into a big monster. He's like, thanks, Turtles. You know, he goodbye Superfly makes him super duper fly, basically. And Turtles have to fight him. It's a bit of a fight. He's able to grab them, but the humans decide to help them out. Connors like scared of him at first, after what happened that first time. But the good human, that was Kevin Eastman, one of the creators of the Turtles from the comics, helps him out. They gotta get this blue to turn him back. April's working on TV, and they're saying that the turtles are the good guys, so the humans are helping them out. The turtles ever use their weapons. They hardly use their weapons in this movie sometimes. But again, Teenage Mutant Ninja. But we don't have them use their weapons. They do it here sometimes though, and they do it and they like put it in his body or whatever, and it destroys him, turns into a well. It's an anti-mutant to turn him back. Yeah, April tries to overcome her anxiety, throwing up, but she throws up a little bit, of course. So, sorry. I'm like, okay. Character development where the character would actually grow, but okay. Yeah, and Splinter always just falls in love with the cockroach, and cockroach start smooshing and, you know, you know, doing French kissing with each other, which is disgusting. So the turtles with Splinter and April there. They save the city. Then the mutants move into the other mutants move into the ship with them. So Splinter falls in love with scumbag the cockroach, which is disgusting. Then the turtles enroll in April's high school, where they all embrace as heroes. People shake their hand. You know, you have Michelangelo doing improv and Raphael doing wrestling. You know, they're not doing some work with asking April out and being nervous to do it. Donatello doing nerdy stuff, I guess you can say. And they get accepted into school, yeah, because this is Ninja Turtles. This ain't Ninja Turtles. You know. And then the Miss Kristen, the Turtles enjoy high school life. Cynthia talks about them being a problem. So she insists that they get Shredder. So you just see a glimpse of Shredder, you know, just his face looking over at the city like this. And then that's the end of the film. And I hated this movie. And that's the end of Mutant Mayhem. I don't care if I didn't spoil it too much. Whatever. I said spoilers in the review. Yeah. Let me give my final thoughts real quick on this movie. 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Wow. I don't get that. To each his own, but anyway, let me give my final opinion on this movie and why I hated it. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, I hated, and the words Blake Rodriguez, I hated this movie. This was awful. I thought this film was boring. I didn't care about the story. You know, yes, the Turtles are teenagers, but actually having the voice by teenagers did not work. These actors that voiced the Turtles were just terrible. I didn't mind Leo in here and his anxiety and trying to be a leader. I can maybe sympathize with that. It is hard to try. It is probably trying hard to be a leader and then being picked on by your brothers and trying his best to be a leader. I could get behind Leo on that. But Donatello was annoying, irritating. His voice was Donnie was the worst. Michelangelo was not funny. Oh, the best human to give him is him, you know, working. I'm like, so Michelangelo's not supposed to be funny, and yet he was voiced by adults or people that were older than this guy who voiced him in this movie, who made him funny. You know, he's the wisecracking jokester loving turtle. He's supposed to be funny. I don't care which version of Turtle you're doing. Mikey should be, you know, but in the Michael Bay version, he's just a college douchebag. In here, he's just a guy that twerks and is just, you know, barely funny. Taking, yeah, and having Raphael trying to be like the Raphael from the cartoon, trying to have him be a wisecrack doesn't work. Raphael was just forgettable in here. Probably, yeah, Ralph's probably my favorite turtle too. You know, but I have no, you can't relate to him in here. You know, Splinter is annoying and excessively, dangerously, you know, dad who seems like he has an excessive control problem because he hates humans. I'm like, yeah. Who does like Jeff Bridges, by the way, Dan DeVito combined, and Wayne Szalinski of Wayne Szalinski, who never got his kids front back or whatever, or he lost his way or whatever. Yeah. I just say that to be funny. He doesn't love Wayne Szalinski. I'm just trying to be funny. Sorry. But it's just lame. I hate every minute of Splinter in here. Yeah. An excessive control freak. Yeah. Yeah. And Ice Cube as the villain was lame. The voice cast was sucked. I thought the animation was horrible. I hate the look of the turtles. I mean, this is the second time I would say this is the second thing they worst like or third. That mutation show they got from the 90s or 2000s looked terrible. Turtles they look awful. They look awful. The Mega Bay ones. I thought they looked awful in here. Yeah, yeah. I didn't buy them as being a family. I felt no family moments with them being or brotherly moments. I just didn't care. Film didn't do nothing for me. I thought this was boring. I thought it was awful. Gave me a headache. I didn't care about the story. They're pandering to the teenage audience with this movie. It's just pandering, and it just doesn't work. But of course, I'm wrong because the movie's getting a sequel, yay! Which I'm not going to see, and I hope the sequel flops. Yes, I hope the sequel never sees the light of day. I hope it keeps getting delayed, delayed. This movie probably got delayed too. I hope the sequel gets delayed, and never comes out. Yes, I hated this movie that much. You know, and I got a feeling the sequel might not even be good. And eventually, yeah, it made it. So $70. It made $180. Yay. Okay, I would say it was successful, but I would call it a huge. I'm sorry, I'm not calling that a huge hit. It's not. It was successful, but I would call this a huge hit. Not enough to get us. Well, apparently, yeah, it is enough to get a sequel, but I don't see why. Yeah. So the stupid jokes I hate, the individual jokes about getting milked or nachos and cheese up your sponge's butt, I'm like, and Mikey doing the twerking, that was just all annoying. So I'm supposed to laugh at this, and this is considered by some of the best Turtles film. I'm like, what? How? Oh, because they got the word for being teenagers. They didn't. They were already teenagers in the other movies. Teenagers don't do that normally. I went to high school with some kids, and they never said, "I want to put nachos and cheese up somebody's butt." They never. They probably dancing at the fullest, but I don't remember them twerking or trying to rap like idiots half the time. You know, sometimes, but not obnoxiously. But trying to make the turtles obnoxious doesn't work. There's versions of them that are dark too. Again, watch the 2003 cartoon or the 1990 movie. But they're still teenagers. They don't need to act childish or do stupid jokes to prove that. Throwing ridiculous jokes and then having them enroll in high school, that was stupid. That's just not Ninja Turtles to me. No. They are ninjas. Ninjas hide in shadows. And they protect the city. That's what the turtles do. They're heroes in a half shell. That's what the turtles are to me. You can do a different version of them, like trying to be funny. Just toe down the jokes, get a different voice cast, go for 20 people that are in the late 20s. Because let me tell you something, in the late 20s, it worked. It worked for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Spider. It worked for the Spider-Man the Spider-Verse movies. Works for those movies, and I guarantee you, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in June, that was probably more of a hit than this. And I want to see is Beyond the Spider-Verse, which is probably better than this. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a bit longer, but that had a better story, and I could feel some emotional, like with Uncle Aaron dying. Uh, I didn't feel nothing in this movie. This movie was just flat as a turtle's shell. It's just like turtle soup. You just want to throw it in the trash. But this film just, it was a shell shock for me, basically. Sorry for the puns. But I hated this movie, so my rating for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mayhem. I said that, and the decent thing, Splinter fighting some of the TRC agents was decent. And Leo, he was decent. Probably the best turtle in the movie. And sometimes it could be annoying, but the whole thing with him I could probably understand. Leo was probably the only relatable turtle in the movie, and Sally, that's it. You also need some brotherly family moments in here, and they didn't have that in here. So, for me, Teenage Mutant Ninja Mayhem, this film, my rating for this film, I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. My rating for the film is 1 out of 5 stars. It's a film I'll never watch again, just because I think there was two decent things about it, and I didn't care for the music score either. The writing, you didn't need six writers. The writing is awful. Direction, you don't need six writers for a Teenage Mutant Turtles film. Um, the cinematography, I'll admit the city does look nice. The editing is fine. Some of the action was decent, but we don't get enough of it, I think. The music score I didn't care for. The rap music I didn't care for that much. And the film was boring. For 1 hour 39 minutes long, it was just it dragged. I thought I had issues with the pacing with the movie too. Yeah, it wasn't nothing special. Yeah, and the CGI look at the characters, the designs of the characters I didn't like. The Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse movies looked a lot better than this. Hell, the pig character from Spider-Man and Spider-Verse looked better than all the turtles in here. And it's a lot more funnier than any of these characters, in my opinion. Mm. You want to see a movie that's got good CGI animation? You want to watch superhero movies? Watch the Spider-Verse movies. Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse from 2018, and the sequel, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And I definitely recommend seeing Beyond the Spider-Verse in theaters when it comes out in 2027. I'd rather watch that over this. And those two movies came out the same year. Across the Spider-Verse was much better. Much, much better. Anyway, guys, my rating for this film was against 1 out of 5 stars. And the thumbs down. Yeah, I hated this film. So that's it. Tell me in the comments down, guys, what do you think of this movie in your opinion? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you think of the film in your opinion? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it was trash? Do you agree with me that it's the, I would say, worst, I would say the second worst so far. I think the worst is still Michael Bay's, but these two films are up there as the worst. Out of the Shadows did some decent with the story, but still, Out of the Shadows still a crappy sequel as well. Turtles 3 was definitely better than this. I'd rather just watch Turtles 3. Or the 2007 movie, or the 2009 animated film Turtles Forever. Or the 80s cartoon, 90s cartoon, or the 1990 film, which is still the best Turtles film in my opinion. And then the second best one is Secret of the Ooze. I'd rather watch those. You can call me an old fart all you want. Yes, I saw those movies when I was a kid, especially the first movie. I know you say you're nostalgia, you're living in the past. No, all I want is something. I don't mind something different. Just do it right. And this film to me was not done right. I don't see how. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Tell me why you like this movie. If you like this movie, to each his own. We agree, disagree, but I respectfully disagree with you, 100%. I don't care what people, other critics say. I'm like, or Rotten Tomatoes. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care about their ratings. I think the ratings are stupid. Yes, not all the time, but I think mostly it is. But that's just me. Not hating on the people on there. I just don't agree with a lot of the ratings. And I know you probably say they're dependable. Sometimes when I read from the comments, I'm like, did you actually watch the movie before saying that? Sometimes I just think they judge the movie too quickly before seeing it. Anyway, guys, the next superhero review. This is a DC movie, which I guess a lot of people probably don't remember. I do like this movie. Can't really say I like it, but this is a DCU movie. Yeah, that came out in August as well. This is the 14th film of the DCU, DC Extended Universe, starring Alexa Mondrillo as the title character from Cobra Kai, as Miguel from Cobra Kai, and that is the 14th DCU film in the DCU, and that is Blue Beetle. Yeah, so Blue Beetle guy is the next superhero review that I want to do. So stay tuned for that. So Blue Beetle is next. So stay tuned for this review, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what you think of Teenage Mutant Turtles Mutant Mayhem down below. Do you like? Do you hate it? What do you think of some of the other Teenage Mutant Turtles film from the '90s, the 2007 film, the Michael Bay one, or what do you think of the '80s cartoon or the 2003 cartoon? What do you think of them, in your opinion? And how would you rank the Teenage Mutant Turtles films? I think this was also the seventh one, by the way. Turtles film I'm talking about. Yeah, from what I heard, it's like the seventh one or something. I think so. Let's see, 1991. I guess if you want to count it as a seventh one or eighth, whatever. How would you rank the Teenage Mutant Turtles from all of them, from the '90s, the 2000, the 2007 one, the Michael Bay ones, and the 2009 one from Charles Forever? How would you rank all of them if you've seen Charles Forever? Yeah. And what is your final thoughts on this movie in your opinion? And again, my rating for the film is 1 out of 5 stars. Film talents for Teenage Mutant Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next super review. That is the 14th film of the DCU film. Blue Beetle coming up next. So stay tuned for watching. Stay tuned next time. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you later. Bye bye. Bye.